Good morning and welcome to StudyIQ. I am Prashant Bhavani. I hope you all are doing good, my dear friends. Today is 31st May. Let's see what we have got in the Hindu today. But a very important and positive quote from Lord Buddha. Peace comes from within. Do not seek it without. You won't find peace in the market, right? It is in your heart and in your mind where you will find peace. And all great people who have walked on this earth have said something similar. What they are trying to say is that this key of happiness and peace is in our hand. It is only we are not able to identify it or see it. With this, we have many important articles. This one is about 20th anniversary of Pokhran test. Where do we stand? What has been our strategy as a country? And there are many important things. I have added some additional information like different groups that we have joined. What is the main aim of this different groups and things like that. Then I'll also take you through different powers, nuclear powers in the world. This one is about paper chase. It's about VVPAT machine and the problems that we are facing with this VVPATs. This one is a pure political article. It's about Karnataka's post-election things that are going on between this JD and Congress. This one again is about Devagowda. If you have extra time, go through both these articles or else it's fine. This one is about cost of indifference. I'll give you a brief of this article. It's about Jammu and Kashmir, how things used to be over there. Earlier on, you know, all parties used to be one. When I say one, I mean to say they used to come together against this separatists. But now what we find is that all different political parties are against each other, and this is giving a sort of advantage to this separatist. And now things are going on in such a way that earlier on all these drives of separatism were led by separatist leaders, but nowadays things are working or people are protesting on their own without any separatist leader. So this is a sad scenario, and if we want to change this thing, then political consensus is the only way, right? Discussions, dialogues, peaceful processes are the only way to sort out this problem, ongoing problem of our state Jammu and Kashmir. This one is about Catalonia. It is at present a state of Spain. I have got maps and everything. We will go through the history as well. I remember it quite clearly. Somewhere around 8-9 months ago, I came out with a special video lecture on Catalonia referendum, and if you want, you can go through it. I have explained history and everything of Catalonia. It's not just about this particular thing. It is about Europe, and in future it could create, this decision of Catalonia can be a good example, good or bad example. It depends for future of different democracies around the world. With this, dear friends, StudyIQ provides pen drive and tablet courses for various different exams, as you can see on your screen. They are available. If you want to find out more about it, check out StudyIQ.com. Any question, queries, you can give us a call on the numbers that you can see on your screen. You can get in touch with me via Facebook and Twitter. Don't forget to hit the like button and share this lecture with other people as well. Now, the first editorial that we are discussing here is this paper chase, glitches in VVPAT. VVPAT was introduced by Supreme Court came out with an order that every polling station should have a VVPAT machine. At that point of time, there were many different political parties. They were claiming that this EVM, that is electronic voting machine that you see on your screen, they can be tampered with. If you press a button, then vote will go to a ruling party. ECI, that is Election Commission of India, has is working as a partner of ruling party, and this sort of claims were levied by different political parties. They know it very well. If you know how things work, right? When this VVPATs, or not VVPATs, but let's say this EVMs, when this EVM will reach your constituency, political leaders from different parties, right? They will be called by ECI people, officials. They will tell them about this EVM. All this document signing and everything will take place. A sort of verification also is conducted on this EVMs, and then it is locked, right? It is locked in a strong room. If you ask some people who are, some of your friends or relatives who are working in police, who are deployed in protection of this EVMs, you will find that it's not easy, right? I'm not saying it will be impossible, but it's very difficult for any political party to have access to this thing. The other thing is that they are not connected with any sort of internet, Wi-Fi or Bluetooth or anything. So it's literally, as far as I know, it's impossible. That's what ECI has claimed as well. It's literally impossible for anyone to tamper with this EVMs. But because of all these questions that were raised on this thing, and it was more a sort of political, I would say, political drama, because of which these VVPATs were finally introduced. Now, it's not bad to have VVPAT, but I was wondering, we can have a sort of digital screen as well, isn't it? Nowadays, we have all these things, digital screen. So we can have a digital screen, which will show you that your vote has gone through to this particular political party, rather than using papers in this VVPAT. One thing that is not that much talked about is either protecting trees or going green. In other space of life, we talk about going green, but when it comes to elections, see, earlier on when EVMs were introduced, at that point of time, this point was discussed, that using ballot papers, we have to chop off how many trees? Millions and millions of them. And you know very well that elections do take place in our country. It's going most of the time, right, around the year. On an average, it is said that we lose somewhere around 1 year after election. When I say 1 year, I mean to say in different pockets of our country, you have different types of elections going on. And if we used to use ballot papers, so you can imagine how many trees were chopped off. Introduction of this thing was a good step, but now we have added this EVM, so we are using paper in this era of technology. This is something that is not mentioned in this article, but I think that this is very important thing. The other thing is that this sort of glitches that are means now it has been proved. If you go through today's newspaper, you will find that re-election is going to take place in this constituencies that went on the poll on Monday, right? Overall fault rate was 11.6%, which is bit high, which is not acceptable. In Karnataka Assembly election, 4.2% of glitches were found, or this fault rate was found. So all these things are happening because of this VVPAT machine rather than this EVM. EVM used to perform very smoothly earlier on, but what happens with this VVPAT, that they are sensitive to this extreme weather conditions, and if too much of light is exposed on this thing, then it may start misbehaving. Now the big question that we have to ask to ourselves is that what will happen in general election that is due next year, and that is going to take place in hot months of summer. So we have to think about it. Supreme Court has to think about it, that we cannot afford to have re-election all the time. We have to think that if we can get rid of it, and if we can add a sort of digital screen or something that can assure this voters that they have pressed the right button and the vote has gone to the right candidate of their choice, then this can be sorted out. Of course, security has to be maintained. We have to ensure that this EVMs are working properly. This digital one that I'm talking about, imaginary ones that I'm talking about. And one thing about ECI is that if you go to countries like UK, they don't have this sort of EVMs. They are still using ballot papers. Countries like USA, right? In most parts of USA, they are still using ballot papers. EVM is a good thing, right? We are supplying EVMs to many different countries. Many different countries are coming here to study our EVM. It is a technology breakthrough that was done by India. There are other countries that use it, but ours, the one that we are using, is a top quality one as well. So rather than adding this VVPATs, we can go ahead with just EVMs, and this will make our democratic process a bit more stronger, right? That's what it looks like. So that's everything in this editorial. Now moving on to another important item. It is about charting its own path. The picture that you can see on your screen, this is a site of Pokhran test. Dear friends, 20th anniversary, I'm sure you all are aware about this thing. A big film is out as well on Pokhran test, and we have talked about it a couple of days ago as well, regarding this Pokhran test. What happened, and all these nuclear sanctions that were applied on us, and after nuclear test we started negotiating with the USA, and all these background things were discussed already. Now we have not celebrated this 20th anniversary, with big fanfare, and one of the reason is that we don't want to project ourselves. That's what this article is talking about, that we don't want to project ourselves as a sort of nuclear weapon state. We want to project ourselves more as a energy producing state, or a state or a country that is inclined towards using nuclear weapons for peaceful purpose, for civil nuclear technology, getting energy security and things like that. And this is a very important thing that we have done, right? This route to top table was closed when NPT, that is non-proliferation treaty, negotiations regarding this NPT, the time when it started, our chance to be on the top of the table was already closed at that point of time. Now here you can see a picture, right? This picture is giving you data about 2015, but it's going to be fine, right? You don't find that big difference as far as this ratio is concerned. So you have 5 countries. I will highlight these 5 countries here. These are the 5 countries that are known as legitimate nuclear states. Who have given this title to them? They themselves, right? They have given, or they have considered themselves as the only countries that should have nuclear weapons. And you can see one common thread in them is that they are United Nations Security Council's permanent members. You have Russia, United States, France, China, and UK. Now, if you see arsenal, that means the number of weapons they have got, nuclear weapons. Russia is number 1. Then you have US, France, China, and UK. Pakistan has got more weapons than us. India has got a bit less than Pakistan, of course. Then you have Israel and North Korea. Negotiations are going on North Korea. Israel, because it is supported by USA, so because of this thing, we don't find that big protest. It has provided a bit of shield to Israel. Same thing happens with Pakistan, because China is in UNSC, and China is also providing shield to this Pakistan. And because of this thing, because they have this veto power, they can carry on this thing forever. Now, anyways, by the time the NPT was negotiated, the world witnessed 925 tests by this nuclear weapon states. These are the ones, right? These 5 countries that we are talking about. They are also known as NWS. And out of this 925, can you imagine 96 were done by USA in 1962 alone. So many tests were done by USA. But when a country like India, because our stand was, as I told you, that we have 2 neighbors. One is China, that was having a nuclear weapon, and we are also aware about this thing, that China was supplying all this technology to Pakistan to get this, or to become a nuclear state. So this was one of the main driver for us to go ahead with nuclear weapons. And remember, we did all this thing by our own selves, right? No one helped us with acquiring nuclear technologies. So when we did this test, USA was not happy about it, and there was this, it asked other countries as well to apply sanctions on India, not to trade with India, and corner India so that it can drop its nuclear weapons and things like that. Now, India published after we did this nuclear tests on 20 years ago in 1998, on May 11 and 13. After 5 years, we came out with this draft nuclear doctrine, right? And under this draft nuclear doctrine, basically we say that we will never be the first country to use it against anyone. We will not harass other countries, or we will not, try to, say for example, Pakistan. We will not threaten Pakistan with nuclear weapons. We will use it for civilian purpose. It is just there for safety. If someone will use on us, only then we will use it. So all this sort of things were said in this draft nuclear doctrine. But you see that we came out with this 5 years after we did the test. But USA, that was doing this test for a very long period of time, it came out with this first nuclear posture review in 1994. So transparency, we have always used this thing, or you can say that we have chosen this path of transparency, that we are open. We have kept whatever we have on the table so everyone can see it, and we are doing it because we are here, or our nuclear experiment was again for a sort of deterrence, for our security. And the reason why we are opting for transparency is because genuinely we want energy security more than nuclear weapons. We are not proliferating our nuclear weapons. We are having a limited arsenal. We don't want to exacerbate it, or we don't want to proliferate it. Let it be as it is, and let's focus on civil nuclear energy production. That's what our aim is. Now, as I told you that you have different international regimes. They control this, they control, or they basically this MTCR and MTCR, your NSG, that is Nuclear Suppliers Group. All these different regimes, they try to support this non-proliferation treaty. And one of the reasons why we have not signed NPT is that if you sign NPT, what happens is that basically NPT gives legitimacy of nuclear test or nuclear power to all those countries who have conducted a nuclear test before 1968. So basically this NWS, these 5 countries, apart from that, all countries have to get rid of it. So imagine if we sign NPT now, then we have to get rid of our nuclear weapons. But Pakistan has not signed it, so Pakistan will continue to hold these nuclear weapons, and we have to drop it. So this is something that is creating hurdles for us. And at the same time, if anyone looks or goes through our whole lifeline of nuclear test, or since test our behavior, there are many countries out there, they have openly said this thing, that India has, without signing NPT as well, India has been a very responsible nuclear power. Now let's go through this picture. You can see here this you have different WA, that stands for Wassenaar arrangement. A special video lecture is available. Do check it out. This looks after conventional arms and dual use of technology. Remember, many times you find this type of things in your MCQs. Match the following type of thing, A and B. So this picture is very important. Australian group. Now let me first of all tell you that we are part of MTCR, that is Missile Technology Control Regime. As you can see, it looks after missile. We got membership of this MTCR in 2016. Then comes this Australian group. We got then comes this Wassenaar. Wassenaar, we got it in 2017, and in 2018 we became member of this Australian group. Australian group looks after chemical and biological weapon. Then you have NSG. China is blocking our entry in this NSG. How it works is that even if one country is saying no, then you cannot get entry to this thing. China is saying that Pakistan should be included in this thing, and there are many countries out there, they know it very well, that Pakistan, including Pakistan, is in this NSG, is going to be a big problem. They will get access to all this nuclear raw material from, they can engage in nuclear trades and things like that. So this is a very dangerous thing that is been looked by India, as well as there are other countries of NSG who are again skeptical about it. So NSG looks after this nuclear weapons, and then you have Zanger committee that also looks after nuclear weapons. So I hope these things are clear to you now. Now moving on to the same item but different topic. So as we were talking about, that our main focus is civil nuclear weapons and not this civil nuclear energy and not nuclear weapons. And because of this thing, we are not celebrating this thing with fanfare, right? We want to keep it low. We want to go ahead with energy security. We don't want to spoil relationship with other countries. We want to get access to all this different arrangements and regimes so that we can get a smooth supply of technology as well as raw material like uranium and other items. And a couple of years ago, I read one interesting article written by APJ Abdul Kalam, and it was a very interesting observation, of course, with fact that because all these things means main purpose of this means why we are still using uranium is because this was available in these countries that were against each other during this World War I and World War II time. So because uranium was available over there, they have done all this research on uranium, and because of this thing, thorium has not been used that much research and attention has not been paid to thorium. If research is going on, if we get a breakthrough by in producing, say, electricity from thorium, then we have ample amount of thorium, and the day when we will get this breakthrough, we would be able to be self-reliant in energy, and this can change this whole political balance. Electricity, we don't have to import that much of oil and diesel and petrol. This will provide us a protection from this inflation and sudden rise and fall in the price. At present, we are going through this phase that petrol and diesel prices are quite high, and this is going to kick inflation. This will hamper our development, and there are many things. It will impact political decisions and so many things. So thorium is something that we need to do R&D on. Of course, this is not mentioned in this article, but as an additional capacity building thing, I thought I should present this thing in front of you. So 11th May, we have celebrated as National Technology Day. Now moving on to Catalonia, right? Let's first of all look at where this particular place is. This is Spain. The capital of Spain is Madrid, and here, this portion here is Catalonia, and its capital is Barcelona. As per constitution, or at present if you see, then this whole region, this Catalonia also is part of Spain. Now the thing is, if you go through this basic details, like population is 7.5 million, Barcelona's population is 1.6 million, Catalonia accounts for 15% of Spain's population, and interesting thing is that you have many different states in Spain, but just Catalonia contributes to 20% of economic output, and this is one of the reasons why they want to get they want to exit this Spain umbrella, because what they are claiming for a very long period of time, and this is right as well, not 100% right, because in a democratic setup, this is how you have to work. Like a state like, say for example, Tamil Nadu or Gujarat, if they are industrial states and if they are adding more to GDP or if they are paying more tax, that does not mean that they can ask for they can ask for getting out of Union of India, right? There are other states, there are poor states in our country because of various reasons. They are poor, so everyone, it's like a family, someone is earning high, someone is earning low, but the money will be distributed so that everyone lives happily, and hopefully that everyone will, or the people who are not making that much, they will make enough money so that they can contribute extra, and this is how it works in a democratic setup. Now what they are saying is that they are paying more tax to central government, but the money that they get back is less, and this is not healthy for them. The other thing is, if you go through Catalonia and some basic details about Catalonia, then it is a very famous tourist destination. 1 out of 4 tourists, they do definitely, the people coming in Spain or going to Spain, they will visit, 1 out of 4 will visit Barcelona. So in terms of tourism, it is making huge money. Then you have football, then you have some medical research and other things, right, in terms of industries. So it is doing quite well as far as economy is concerned. Now they have got, on this 17th May, they have got a new president. Remember, they do have president as well. They have their own parliament in Catalonia. So they have got their new president. His name is Quim Torra, and he is a separatist. He wants Catalonia to be separated from Spain. Now, Spanish Prime Minister Mariano Rajoy has said that this is not going to happen. He has warned that Spanish constitution does not allow you to step out of this country. You have to be there, stick with the country, And if we go through a referendum as well as elections that have took place since 2015 and 2 elections in 2017, we have seen that people of Catalonia, they have voted for independence. Now, if we go back to the history, then you find that they have their own language. Goes back, their history goes back to 1,000-year-old. They have 1,000-year-old history. They have different culture than the rest of the Spain. They have their own political, setup. Or the way of working is a bit different than Spain. So they are a bit different when you compare it with the rest of the Spanish population. The other thing is they have faced oppression. They have been harassed by people like or dictators like Francisco Franco in 20th century. And this is not just about Catalonia, right? It is happening in Europe. And you know that Europe is famous for nationalism. It is famous for democracy, liberty, and all these things means the introduction or inception place is Europe, French Revolution, and all those things that took place back in history of Europe. So it is also questioning this legitimacy of European Union. Catalonia has appealed to different democracies, particularly in Europe, to help them. And the other thing is that Spanish government is also not wrong. Spanish constitution clearly says that you cannot secede from, you cannot step out from Spain. It prohibits this sort of thing. So it is a very tricky situation, and the decision that will come out from this political turmoil that is going on will impact other countries as well, because in future, you never know, after 30-40 years, you never know, something like this may take place in our country as well, in India. At that point of time, they will look back to the history of this Catalonia, how it was sorted out, and based on this thing, decisions will be taken. So it will be very interesting for all of us, for the world community, to see what is going to come out from this meeting that will take place between Prime Minister of Spain and President of Catalonia. Moving on to this article, it is about Federalist Principle. Now, taxation and representation are important part of democracy, right? Particularly countries like India and America, where we are like India is biggest and America is the oldest democracy, and you have different states and different people living in different parts. Now, the thing with the USA is that they reallocate seats, 435 seats in the House of Representation after each consensus. In India, it works a bit differently. We have been using this 1971 census, and we said that till 2026 we will not change this seat setting formula and things like that. But what we find in USA is that Mr. Trump has said that a census will be conducted, and based on this thing, of course, the seats will be determined. At the same time, how much money will be given to different states will also be determined. So the big question here is that you find many people from different parts of the world, they do enter USA. I'm not talking about illegal immigrants, but legal people, right? They with papers, they contribute. They are living there for a bit of time, and they do contribute. They have to pay tax and everything, but they cannot vote. So this is something that USA has to do. The other thing is, as far as India is concerned, there is a debate going on regarding this 15th Finance Commission going to use this 2011 census. So states like Kerala and other southern states who have worked very well in reducing their population since 1971, they are claiming that this is going to be detrimental for them, because they will be punished for doing good thing. And the problem is if we are going to add new formulas, right, like post 2031, if we are going to add new methods of calculating, then northern states will have upper hand as far as political seat sharing is concerned. The best way is, or the best method is, to take everyone on board and think about religious, linguistic, ethnic, and economically marginalized people in society and come out with a proper formula. That's what this article is talking about. And here you have some important news items. We are running out of time now, so it's about petrol, right? Fuel price just down by 1 paisa. People of Assam will be consulted, has been said by Home Minister. India and Indonesia, we talked about it yesterday. Many things we will find some more important items in near future in form of editorials and articles. China wants USA. Moody's has cut down our forecast because of rising oil price, and Nepal has found a new way to cut emission in their briquettes. That's everything. These are your answers. These are your 2 questions. Don't forget to check out StudyIQ.com. Keep your surrounding green and clean. Do share this lecture with other people and hit the like button if you have learned something from today's discussion. Thank you very much. I'll see you all soon. Enjoy your studies. Jai Hind.